What if I told you that one small tube of blood could save your life? That hidden deep inside your lab results, there are signals, warnings, clues your body is giving you long before symptoms ever show up. In America alone, over 70% of medical decisions are based on blood tests. And yet, most people never take a second look at what those numbers mean. They rely on the doctor to say, "You're fine." But what if you're not? What if normal is just average? And average today means tired, overweight, pre-diabetic, and one step away from a stroke or heart attack. Blood tests aren't just about diagnosis, they're about prevention. They give you a window into your body's future. Your heart, your brain, your kidneys, your hormones, even how fast you're aging. And the best part? You don't need high-tech scans or expensive treatments. Just a few simple tests done once or twice a year could mean the difference between health and disease, between a long life and a life cut short. But here's the problem: most people wait. They wait until something hurts, until something breaks, until it's too late. That's not your fault. The system teaches us to treat, not to prevent. But I'm here to change that. In this video, we're going to walk through the 10 most powerful blood tests that can protect your health, not just for today, but for the next 10, 20, even 30 years. You'll learn what these tests really mean, what normal ranges hide, and how to read between the lines to spot problems early and take control before disease takes hold. We'll talk about blood sugar and insulin and why millions walk around with pre-diabetes without even knowing. We'll explore cholesterol, but in a way most doctors never explain. We'll dive into liver, kidney, thyroid, inflammation, vitamin levels, and how each one connects to your energy, your memory, your mood, your mobility. Because the truth is, your blood never lies. It tells the story of your habits, your stress, your diet, your sleep, your future. So whether you're 60, 70, or 80, this isn't about fear, it's about power. The power to understand your body, to ask the right questions, to act now instead of waiting for a diagnosis later. And the best part is, once you know how to read these signals, you'll never feel helpless at the doctor's office again. So let's begin with the first test that every adult over 60 should be checking: your blood sugar. Not just the quick finger prick, but the deeper numbers that can reveal a hidden storm years before diabetes ever shows up. Let's start with one of the most important numbers in your blood glucose, also known as your blood sugar. Why does this matter so much? Because high blood sugar doesn't just lead to diabetes. It slowly damages your blood vessels, your heart, your kidneys, your eyes, and even your brain. In fact, doctors now call Alzheimer's disease type 3 diabetes because of how deeply sugar affects the brain. Here's the scary part: you don't need to have full-blown diabetes to be at risk. Many people over 60 are walking around with pre-diabetes and they have no idea. No pain, no symptoms, but inside their body, the damage is already starting. The most common test is the fasting glucose test. You go to the lab in the morning before breakfast and they check your sugar levels after 8 hours without food. Now listen carefully to this. Most labs say that anything under 100 mg/dl is normal, but functional medicine and long-term studies tell us otherwise. A truly optimal fasting blood sugar is between 75 and 85 mg/dl. Above 90, you might already have some insulin resistance. Above 95, that's the red zone, even if the lab says you're fine. And here's why this matters. When your blood sugar stays high, your pancreas works overtime to pump out insulin. Over time, your body becomes less sensitive to insulin. That's called insulin resistance, and it's the first step toward diabetes, heart disease, weight gain, and even cancer. But here's the good news. Blood sugar is one of the easiest things to fix if you catch it early. A few simple changes can bring your numbers down: reducing sugar and processed carbs, eating more protein and healthy fats, walking after meals, getting quality sleep, managing stress, even just 5 minutes a day. And there's something even more powerful, a second test that shows the bigger picture: HbA1c, your 3-month average of blood sugar. We'll talk about that in the next section, but for now, remember this: if your fasting glucose is 90 or higher, that's not something to ignore. It's a gentle warning from your body. It's saying, something is off, fix it now before it gets worse. Think of blood sugar like a candle. If you catch it early, you can blow it out. But if you wait too long, that small flame can turn into a wildfire. So go ahead, pull out your latest blood work. Check your fasting glucose. Is it under 85? Great. Is it creeping toward 90? Time to act. because one small change today could mean years of better health tomorrow. Next up, we'll explore the HbA1c test, the one number that can reveal hidden sugar spikes, even if your fasting test looks normal. Now that you understand the importance of fasting glucose, let's go one level deeper, because blood sugar can change from day to day depending on what you eat, how you sleep, or even how stressed you are. That's why doctors often use another test to get the full picture. It's called the A1C test, or HbA1c. This test measures your average blood sugar over the last 3 months. Instead of just one snapshot, it's like looking at the whole photo album. So how does it work? When sugar floats in your bloodstream, some of it sticks to your red blood cells. The more sugar in your blood, the more that sticks. And since red blood cells live for about 90 days, the HbA1c test shows how much sugar your body has been exposed to over that time. It's a powerful way to catch problems that don't show up in a single morning test. Now, most labs say that anything below 5.7% is normal. Between 5.7 and 6.4% is prediabetes, 6.5% or higher is diabetes. But here's what most people miss. Just because your number is under 5.7% doesn't mean you're in the clear. Research shows that even an HbA1c of 5.5% can increase your risk of heart disease, stroke, and brain shrinkage. Yes, you heard that right. People with high nominal blood sugar have higher rates of memory loss, nerve damage, and silent inflammation. So what's the optimal range? Functional doctors recommend keeping your HbA1c around 5 to 5.3% for the best long-term protection. That's where your body performs at its best. Steady energy, clear thinking, stable mood, and low inflammation. Let's take an example. Suppose your fasting glucose is 88 milligrams/dl. That looks fine. But your HbA1c comes back at 5.7%. That means your average sugar is running higher than it should, probably spiking after meals, then dipping back down. Over time, those daily sugar swings wear down your pancreas, age your arteries, and raise your risk for every chronic disease from the neck down. That's why the HbA1c test is so critical. It shows the trends that the fasting glucose can't. And here's the good news. Just like fasting glucose, you can bring your HbA1c down naturally, often in just 8 to 12 weeks. How? Focus on consistent, low glycemic meals. Eat whole foods instead of processed carbs. Move your body daily. Even just a walk after dinner helps stabilize sugar. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, and if you're overweight, just losing 5 to 10 pounds can dramatically improve your numbers. So if you've never checked your HbA1c, ask for it. If it's creeping above 5.5%, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. That number might be the earliest signal that your body needs a reset, and if you're already over 6%, take action now, because the longer sugar runs high, the harder it is to reverse. This one number, just 3 characters on a lab sheet, can reveal a hidden storm or confirm you're on the right track. It's not about fear, it's about knowing. And once you know, you can change the story. Up next, we'll look at the hidden force behind rising sugar and why the real problem might not be glucose itself, but the hormone that's trying to control it, insulin. Most people think diabetes is all about sugar, but the real story often begins with another hormone, insulin. Insulin is the key that unlocks your cells, allowing sugar from the bloodstream to move inside and be used for energy. It's absolutely essential for life, but too much insulin, over time, can become just as dangerous as too little. This is where the storm begins, silently and slowly. When you eat carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises. Your pancreas responds by releasing insulin to bring it back down. But when you eat processed carbs, sugar, and refined foods too often, your body pumps out more and more insulin. Over time, your cells stop responding. This is called insulin resistance, and it is the root cause of prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, weight gain, high blood pressure, heart disease, and even some cancers. It can also speed up aging and memory decline. Here's the problem. You can have insulin resistance for years before your blood sugar ever rises. But that means fasting glucose and even HbA1c might still look normal while insulin is quietly building up, causing damage underneath the surface. That's why testing your fasting insulin level is so important. It tells you how hard your pancreas is working to keep things balanced. The earlier you see the warning, the earlier you can fix it. Now, what should you look for? Most labs say a fasting insulin under 25 is normal, but that's far too high. A truly healthy range is between 2 and 5 UIU/ml. Between 6 and 9 you're likely developing resistance. Over 10, your body is struggling even if your glucose looks fine. Over 15, you're already deep into metabolic dysfunction. Another helpful test is CUT-PE peptide. When your pancreas makes insulin, it also makes CUT-P peptide in equal amounts. This marker helps confirm how much insulin your body is producing on its own. Especially useful if you're already on medication or have been diagnosed with diabetes. A high CP peptide means your body is producing too much insulin, a strong sign of insulin resistance. A low number could mean your pancreas is burning out or failing, especially in advanced cases. So why does this matter to you? Because insulin resistance doesn't just lead to diabetes. It also increases belly fat, inflammation, fatigue, mood swings, brain fog, high triglycerides, and low HDL. It makes losing weight almost impossible, and worst of all, you might not feel any of it happening until your body breaks down. The good news is that insulin resistance is reversible. Not with pills, but with food, movement, and consistency. Cutting back on refined sugar and flour and increasing protein and fiber, practicing intermittent fasting and walking daily can reduce insulin levels dramatically in just weeks. Even better, improving insulin can improve every other system in your body, from your brain to your heart to your hormones. So don't wait for high blood sugar to appear. Ask your doctor to run a fasting insulin test, even if your glucose is fine. If your number's above 6, that's your early warning. That's your chance to change course. Coming up next, we'll look at the test that millions of Americans think they understand, but often get completely wrong. Cholesterol. We'll show you why your total cholesterol means almost nothing and what numbers actually predict heart disease, stroke, and brain aging. Let's talk about one of the most misunderstood tests in medicine, cholesterol. For decades, we've been told that cholesterol is the enemy, that high cholesterol clogs your arteries and causes heart attacks, that you need to lower it, no matter what. But here's the truth. The story is far more complex, and in many cases, focusing on total cholesterol is not just misleading, it's dangerous. Your standard lipid panel usually measures 4 things: total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, and triglycerides. Most doctors glance at your total number in LDL and tell you whether it's too high, but what really matters is the type, size, and behavior of these particles, not just the amount. Let's break it down. LDL is often called the bad cholesterol, but LDL itself isn't the problem. It's only a problem when it becomes small, dense, and oxidized. That's when it can stick to artery walls and trigger inflammation. HDL is known as good cholesterol because it helps remove excess cholesterol from the bloodstream and bring it back to the liver. But again, it's the function of HDL, not just the number, that really matters. Triglycerides are a type of fat in the blood that rises after you eat sugar and refined carbs. High triglycerides, especially with low HDL, are a big red flag for insulin resistance and heart disease. So what's the better way to assess risk? Advanced lipid testing, including ApoB and LDL particle number. ApoB is a protein found on the surface of every LDL particle. The more ApoB in your blood, the more atherogenic particles you have. That means more potential to damage artery walls. Studies show that ApoB is a far better predictor of heart disease than LDL cholesterol alone. You could have normal LDL but still have high ApoB and high risk. Another helpful marker is LDL particle number, LDLP. It tells you how many actual LDL particles are floating in your bloodstream. Think of it like this. Imagine 2 buses carrying the same number of passengers. One bus is large, the other is small. If you have many small buses, small LDL particles, they're more likely to crash into the walls. That's inflammation and plaque. Fewer, larger buses are safer. The size and number of these LDL particles matter more than the total cholesterol. Now here's where it gets powerful. If you want to improve your lipid profile and reduce heart risk, you don't need to fear all fats. You need to focus on reducing sugar, processed carbs, and seed oils, which cause inflammation and small, dense LDL. Icons for sugar, white bread, and seed oil, crossed out with red X marks. Background: beige yellow. Eating healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, fatty fish, avocado, and pasture-raised eggs can actually help your lipid balance. Losing belly fat, managing stress, and getting quality sleep also help bring triglycerides down and HDL. What should your goals be? Ideally, triglycerides under 100, HDL over 60, LDL particle count in the lower half of the range, and ApoB under 80. But don't rely on just your standard panel. Ask your doctor about getting an advanced lipid test. It could show you a risk that your regular blood work completely missed, and that knowledge could save your heart and your brain from a future crisis. Up next, we move from the bloodstream to your liver, the silent workhorse of your body. When it starts to fail, it rarely speaks loudly until it's too late. So how can you know if your liver is already under attack? That's what we'll explore in the next section. Your liver is one of the hardest working organs in your body. It filters your blood, processes nutrients, breaks down toxins, and regulates cholesterol, hormones, and blood sugar. Without it, nothing else works. And yet, most people never think about their liver until something goes very wrong. That's because liver damage is often silent. You won't feel pain, you won't feel sick, but inside, inflammation may already be building, and the first clue is often found in your liver enzyme tests. The two most common enzymes checked in routine blood work are ALT, alanine aminotransferase, and AST, aspartate aminotransferase. These are enzymes released into your bloodstream when liver cells are damaged. High levels don't always mean liver failure, but they do signal that your liver is under stress. And that stress often starts with a condition called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD. This is when fat builds up in your liver, not from alcohol, but from sugar, processed food, and insulin resistance. Icons as for soda, processed snacks, sugar cubes, and insulin resistance arrow surrounding a liver. Background, warm beige. In fact, NAFLD is now the most common liver disorder in the world, affecting over 100 million people in the US alone, and many have no idea they have it. Here's how it happens. When your body gets too much sugar, especially from fructose in processed foods and sweetened drinks, your liver converts that sugar into fat. Over time, that fat begins to build up inside the liver. This leads to inflammation, scarring, and eventually, if not reversed, it can progress to cirrhosis or liver cancer. And you don't need to be overweight to get fatty liver. Even thin people can have it if their insulin is high and their diet is poor. So what do you look for in your test results? Most labs say that ALT levels up to 40 or 45 units per liter are normal. But that's not the whole story. Studies show that optimal ALT should be under 20 for women and under 30 for men. Anything higher may indicate inflammation, especially if your AST is also elevated. Another important ratio is the AST to ALT ratio. In healthy livers, ALT is usually slightly higher than AST, but if AST becomes higher, especially if the ratio is above 1, it could be a sign of more serious liver damage. There's also another enzyme you might see on your lab's GGT, gamma-glutamyl transferase. Elevated GGT can indicate oxidative stress, bile flow problems, or hidden liver strain. A high GGT combined with high ALT and AST means your liver needs help, fast. So what can you do to support your liver? The first step is to cut out the major offenders: sugar, soda, alcohol, seed oils, and ultra-processed foods. Focus on real whole foods, vegetables, berries, healthy fats, lean proteins, and antioxidant-rich herbs like turmeric and milk thistle. Drink plenty of water, get regular movement to improve blood flow and detox. And if you're overweight, even losing just 5 to 10% of your body weight can dramatically reduce liver fat and inflammation. Your liver may not complain loudly, but your blood work can whisper the truth if you know how to listen. Don't ignore slightly elevated enzymes. Don't accept it's normal for your age. Your liver deserves better. It's already working hard to protect you. Now it's your turn to protect it. Coming up next, we'll look at another set of filters in your body, your kidneys. When they start to slip, the signs are subtle, but the consequences can be deadly. Let's see what your blood says about your kidney health. Your kidneys work quietly behind the scenes 24 hours a day. They filter your blood, remove waste, balance your fluids, and regulate your blood pressure. These two fist-sized organs handle over 50 gallons of blood every single day. Yet when kidney function begins to decline, you might feel nothing at all. No pain, no fatigue, no warning, until the damage is already advanced. That's why understanding your kidney tests is absolutely critical, especially as you age. The three most common kidney markers are creatinine, BUN, blood urea nitrogen, and eGFR, the estimated glomerular filtration rate. Let's break these down. Creatinine is a waste product created when muscles break down. Your kidneys remove it from your blood. If your kidneys aren't working well, creatinine builds up. A high creatinine level means your kidneys are struggling to clear waste. Most labs say that creatinine up to 1.3 mg/dl is normal, but optimal levels depend on your age, gender, and muscle mass. For most adults, creatinine should be under 1 and ideally around 0.7 to 0.9, especially in older adults who aren't carrying a lot of muscle. Even slight elevations could mean your kidneys are starting to slow down. The second test is BUN, which measures nitrogen in your blood that comes from the breakdown of protein. Elevated BUN can suggest kidney stress, dehydration, or high protein intake. On its own, it's not always alarming, but combined with high creatinine, it can indicate real trouble. BUN should generally stay between 10 and 20 milligrams/dl. If it's higher, especially above 25, your body may not be clearing waste efficiently. But the most telling number is eGFR, your estimated glomerular filtration rate. This test estimates how well your kidneys are filtering blood per minute. A normal eGFR is 90 or higher. Between 60 and 89 may still be okay, especially with age, but anything under 60 is a red flag. Below 60 means chronic kidney disease, even if you feel completely fine. Below 30, that's severe, and under 15, that's kidney failure. Here's what makes this so serious. Your kidneys don't heal easily. Once they're damaged, the decline is often permanent. That's why early detection is so important. Many people develop chronic kidney disease due to uncontrolled blood pressure, high blood sugar, or long-term use of NSAID painkillers like ibuprofen. Dehydration, smoking, and processed foods also play a major role, but by the time swelling, fatigue, or changes in urination appear, it's often too late. The good news is you can support your kidneys starting today. Stay hydrated, keep your blood pressure and blood sugar in check. Avoid unnecessary medications that stress the kidneys. Eat foods rich in antioxidants and potassium like leafy greens, sweet potatoes, and berries, unless your doctor restricts them. Limit salt, processed meats, and sugary drinks, which increase the load on your kidneys. And get your labs checked regularly, at least once a year if you're over 60. So what should you remember? Creatinine should stay under 1, BUN under 20, and eGFR above 60, ideally over 90. If your numbers are trending down, don't wait. Talk to your doctor, make changes. Because healthy kidneys don't just filter waste, they help protect your heart, your bones, your brain, and your longevity. Next up, we'll look at a small gland with a massive impact, your thyroid. If you've been feeling tired, cold, forgetful, or gaining weight for no clear reason, your thyroid might be whispering for help. If you've been feeling tired all the time, gaining weight without eating more, struggling with cold hands or feet, feeling foggy or down, and your doctor says it's just part of getting older, don't accept that answer too quickly. Because these can all be signs of an underactive thyroid, and the only way to know for sure is through a proper thyroid panel. The thyroid is a small, butterfly-shaped gland at the base of your neck, but don't let its size fool you. It controls the metabolism of every single cell in your body. When it slows down, everything slows down. Your energy, your mood, your digestion, your heart rate, even how your brain works. And when it speeds up too much, you can feel anxious, lose weight rapidly, and have a racing heart. The main test most doctors run is TSH, or thyroid-stimulating hormone. This hormone is produced by the brain to tell your thyroid how hard to work. If TSH is high, it means your thyroid isn't making enough hormone and your brain is trying to push it. If TSH is low, it might mean the thyroid is overactive. But here's the problem. TSH alone doesn't give you the full picture. Many people have symptoms of thyroid imbalance, but their TSH is normal. That's why you also need to check free T3 and free T4, which are the actual thyroid hormones circulating in your blood. T4 is the storage form, kind of like the raw material. T3 is the active form. It's what actually goes into your cells and speeds up metabolism. Your body needs to convert T4 into T3 to stay energized. But if that conversion is poor due to stress, inflammation, nutrient deficiency, or aging, your T3 can be low even if your TSH looks okay. So what's the optimal range? Most labs say TSH between 0.5 and 4.5 is normal, but many functional doctors agree that TSH should be between 1 to 2.5 for true wellness. Free T3 should be in the upper third of the range. Free T4 should be steady and balanced. If your TSH is over 3 and your free T3 is low, that's a classic sign of early hypothyroidism, even if your doctor says it's not a concern. There's more. Sometimes the issue isn't the thyroid itself, but the immune system attacking it. This is called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and it's the most common cause of low thyroid in older adults, especially women. You can detect this by testing TPO antibodies and thyroglobulin antibodies. If these are elevated, your immune system is quietly damaging your thyroid, and that damage adds up over the years. So what can you do? First, get a full thyroid panel: TSH, free T3, free T4, and thyroid antibody. Second, support your thyroid with key nutrients like selenium, zinc, iodine, and vitamin D, all essential for hormone production and conversion. Third, reduce chronic stress, which suppresses thyroid function. And fourth, clean up your diet. Processed foods, gluten, and sugar can trigger inflammation and worsen autoimmune thyroid issues. If you're over 60 and feeling slower, colder, heavier, or more forgetful than you used to be, don't just blame age. It could be your thyroid. And with the right testing, you can find out and start to feel better again. Next, we'll explore a hidden force that silently drives heart disease, brain aging, and immune dysfunction, even when your cholesterol and blood sugar look fine. It's called inflammation, and your blood can reveal it before it ever becomes a problem. Inflammation is a word we hear a lot these days, but most people think it only happens when you sprain an ankle or cut your finger. That kind of inflammation, the kind you can see and feel, is part of the body's healing process. It's temporary, and it's helpful. But what we're talking about now is different. It's chronic, low-grade inflammation, the kind you can't see and often don't feel. It quietly damages your arteries, your brain, your joints, and your immune system over time. And the only way to know it's happening is to test for it. Two of the most powerful markers for silent inflammation are CRP, also called high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, and homocysteine. But let's start with CRP. This is a protein made by your liver in response to inflammation in the body. When your levels are high, it means your immune system is in a constant state of alert, reacting to something inside, even if you feel perfectly fine. High CRP levels have been linked to heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, arthritis, and even cancer. It's one of the strongest predictors of a future heart attack, sometimes more accurate than cholesterol. Most labs say CRP should be under 3 mg/L, but for optimal health, functional doctors recommend under 1 and ideally below 0.5. If your CRP is over 2, you're likely inflamed, over 3, and you're already at elevated cardiovascular risk, even if your LDL and blood sugar are fine. And what causes CRP to rise? Processed foods, high blood sugar, lack of sleep, chronic stress, excess body fat, infections, toxins, and autoimmune reactions, all silently stoking the fire. Now let's talk about homocysteine. This is an amino acid that naturally forms during protein metabolism. But when levels rise too high, it becomes toxic to your blood vessels and your brain. High homocysteine has been linked to stroke, dementia, heart disease, and bone loss. It can even accelerate aging by damaging your DNA. The good news is this test is simple and inexpensive, yet very few doctors order it unless you ask. What's the healthy range? Most labs consider up to 15 umoles/L to be acceptable, but that's way too high. The true optimal range is between 6 and 9. Levels above 10 should be addressed, not ignored. What causes high homocysteine? Often it's a deficiency in B vitamins, especially B6, B12, and folate. Your body needs these nutrients to convert homocysteine into harmless compounds. If you're low in these vitamins, whether from poor diet, age absorption issues, or genetics, your homocysteine rises, silently damaging your body over time. So what can you do? First, ask your doctor to check both HS, CRP, and homocysteine, even if your routine labs look normal. Second, eat a diet rich in anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, turmeric, olive oil, and nuts. Third, avoid sugar, refined carbs, processed meats, and industrial oils that fuel inflammation. And finally, make sure you're getting enough B vitamins either through food or high-quality supplements. Your body may not scream when inflammation starts, but your blood will whisper the truth. And if you listen early, you can stop the damage before it ever becomes disease. Next, we'll explore a group of nutrients that don't just prevent inflammation, they help you build energy, boost brain power, and prevent muscle loss. They're some of the most common deficiencies in older adults, and some of the easiest to fix. If you've ever felt unusually tired, weak, forgetful, anxious, or had trouble concentrating, it might not be age, stress, or poor sleep. It could be a simple nutrient deficiency. And the 3 most common, especially in people over 60, are vitamin D, vitamin B12, and iron. These nutrients affect everything from your muscles, to your mood, to your memory. And the scary part? You can be dangerously low and not even know it, unless you check your blood. Let's start with vitamin D. It's not just a vitamin, it's more like a hormone. It supports your immune system, bones, mood, and even helps regulate blood sugar and inflammation. Low vitamin D has been linked to osteoporosis, depression, fatigue, chronic pain, cancer risk, and cognitive decline. The problem is, vitamin D is hard to get from food alone, and as we age, our skin becomes less efficient at making it from sunlight. Most labs say levels over 30 mg/ml are sufficient, but that's just the minimum to avoid disease. The optimal range is between 50 and 80 mg/ml. Below 40? Your immune system, bones, and brain could already be paying the price. If you haven't checked your vitamin D this year, it's time. And if you're low, supplementing with D3 plus K2 can help you absorb it properly and direct it to the right places, like your bones, not your arteries. Next is vitamin B12, critical for nerve function, red blood cell production, and brain health. Deficiency can lead to tingling in the hands and feet, fatigue, mood swings, memory loss, and even irreversible nerve damage if left untreated. And the older you get, the harder it is to absorb, especially if you take acid blockers, metformin, or have digestive issues. Most doctors say anything above 200 pg/ml is fine, but studies show that symptoms can appear even when B12 is between 200 and 400. The true optimal range is closer to 500 to 900 pg/ml. If you're experiencing brain fog or balance issues, test your B12. And if you're low, sublingual or injectable forms work best. Lastly, we have iron. Iron is essential for oxygen delivery throughout your body. Too little and your cells starve. You feel weak, short of breath, cold, pale, and mentally drained. But too much iron can also be dangerous, increasing oxidative stress and damaging your organs. That's why you must test ferritin, not just iron. Ferritin is the storage form of iron, and it gives a better picture of your long-term iron status. For women over 60 and most men, ferritin should be between 50 and 150 nm/ml. Below 40, you may be iron deficient. Over 200, time to investigate for overload or inflammation. If your ferritin is low, don't just reach for supplements. First, understand why. It could be poor diet, poor absorption, or internal bleeding. So what should you do? Once or twice a year, check your vitamin D, B12, and ferritin levels. If they're low, correct them with food and high-quality supplements. And if they're too high, look for the root cause. Don't guess, test. These three nutrients may seem simple, but they're foundational. When they're in balance, you feel stronger, think clearer, move better, and age slower. Up next, we'll look at a test that pulls all of this together, your complete blood count. It's one of the most routine lab tests, but if you know how to read it, it can reveal early signs of infection, immune imbalance, or even serious disease. The complete blood count, or CBC, is one of the most common blood tests and one of the most overlooked. Doctors often order it as part of your routine checkup, but rarely take the time to explain what it really means. Yet, inside those numbers is a goldmine of information about your oxygen levels, immune function, inflammation, and even hidden disease. Understanding your CBC can help you catch issues long before symptoms appear. Let's start with red blood cells, or RBCs. These cells carry oxygen from your lungs to every part of your body. If your red blood cell count is too low, you may have anemia, and that means your body isn't getting enough oxygen. You may feel weak, tired, short of breath, or dizzy. Anemia can be caused by iron deficiency, B12 deficiency, blood loss, or chronic disease. Normal ranges vary, but for most adults, a healthy RBC count is between 4.2 and 5.9 million cells per microliter. But don't just look at the count. Also check hemoglobin and hematocrit, which reflect how much oxygen your blood can carry. Hemoglobin should be around 13 to 17 for men and 12 to 15 for women. If it's under those numbers, your energy and brain function may already be compromised. Next, look at MCV, or mean corpuscular volume. This tells you the size of your red blood cells. If they're too small, you might have iron deficiency. If they're too large, it could mean a lack of B12 or folate. These details help pinpoint the root cause of anemia so you treat it correctly. Now let's talk about white blood cells, or WBCs. These are your body's defense system. They fight infections, repair tissue, and control inflammation. A normal range is usually between 4,000 and 11,000 cells per microliter. If your count is high, it could signal an infection, stress, or even leukemia in extreme cases. Pay attention to the differential count, which breaks down types of white blood cells, like neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. Each tells a different story, from bacterial infections to allergies to viral patterns. Even small shifts in these numbers can give you clues before you feel sick. Finally, we have platelets, small cell fragments that help your blood clot when you're injured. Too few platelets and you may bleed or bruise easily. Too many and you may be at risk for dangerous clotting. A normal platelet count is between 150,000 and 450,000 per microliter, but even within the normal range, sharp increases or drops can point to inflammation, infection, or bone marrow issues. So how do you use your CBC wisely? Don't just glance at the report and move on. Look for trends. Compare it to past results. Ask, are your red cells steady? Is your hemoglobin dropping? Is your white cell count climbing without infection? Are your platelets spiking or sinking? These quiet shifts can be early signs of internal stress, nutrient imbalances, or serious conditions. The CBC isn't just for doctors. It's for you, because when you understand what your blood is trying to say, you gain the power to respond with action, not fear. Coming up next, we'll put everything together. A clear summary of the most important tests, what to watch for, and the exact steps you can take, starting today, to protect your health for the next decade and beyond. You've just learned how simple blood tests, ones you can get done in under an hour, can reveal what's really going on inside your body. Not guesses, not symptoms, but actual biological facts that could save your life. And now, it's time to take that knowledge and turn it into action. Here's your 5-step plan to protect your health using blood tests. Not just once, but year after year. Step 1. Get the right tests. Not just the basic panel your insurance covers. Ask for the full picture. That means fasting glucose, HbA1c, fasting insulin, lipid panel with ApoB, liver enzymes, ALT, AST, GGT, kidney function, creatinine, BUN, EGFR, thyroid panel, TSH, free T3, free T4, inflammatory markers, CRP, homocysteine, nutrient levels, vitamin D, B12, ferritin, and complete blood count. If your doctor won't order them, consider using a direct lab service. Your health is worth it. Step 2. Know your optimal ranges. Normal isn't always healthy. Most lab ranges are based on the average population, and the average person today is inflamed, overweight, and at risk. Don't aim for average, aim for optimal. That means fasting glucose under 85, HbA1c under 5.3, insulin under 6, triglycerides under 100, HDL over 60, CRP under 1, vitamin D around 60, and so on. Print out your own cheat sheet. Compare. Watch trends. Step 3. Track over time. One number doesn't tell the full story, but patterns do. Get tested at least once a year, and more often if something is off. Create a health journal. Record your labs, your habits, your sleep, your energy. So you'll begin to see the cause and effect, and you'll know when something's shifting before symptoms show up. Step 4. Take early action. Don't wait until something is dangerously high or low. If your CRP is creeping up, start cleaning your diet. If your insulin is rising, cut refined carbs. If your B12 is dropping, supplement now. Small corrections early on can prevent big problems later. Prevention doesn't mean perfection. It means awareness followed by consistent steps. Step 5. Build a lifestyle that supports your labs. Your blood doesn't lie. It reflects your choices. What you eat, how you move, how you sleep, how you manage stress. The better your daily habits, the better your labs. Focus on whole foods, movement, restful sleep, real connection and purpose. These are the medicines your doctor can't prescribe, but your body desperately needs. But remember this. Your blood is not your destiny, it's your dashboard. It gives you feedback. It tells you what's working and what's not, and when you understand it, you become your own best advocate. Now, this isn't about being afraid, it's about being informed. It's about choosing to live proactively, not reactively. Stop treating symptoms and start building strength. You don't have to be perfect, just aware, just willing, just consistent. So the next time you sit down with your lab results, don't glaze over, don't hand it all to the doctor and hope for the best. Look deeper, ask better questions. And remember, the earlier you listen, the longer you stay well. Because your health isn't random, it's readable, it's reversible, and it's in your hands.